Hello and welcome to the culmination of an entire split of OCS, the Oceanic Challenger Series. This is the grand final. Joining me, going to be the big boss, Tim, Carb, and Wendell.
How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty excited.
Same. Grannies.
Yeah.
You all like grannies?
I've never heard anybody call it grannies before.
No?
Until today, and you've said it like 4 times.
Yeah, I don't know. Super common thing in Victoria, perhaps. That's
Oh,
just
okay.
what it's always been called. Grand final day. How exciting.
Yeah.
How many weeks was OCS this year? It was
We had
14?
11. We had 11, and then we had tiebreakers, we've had quarterfinals, we've had semis, and we'll actually...
Is that 14 weeks?
Maybe it is, yeah.
Bang on.
Yeah,
Let's
there you
go, Tim.
First one straight out the bag.
14 weeks of OCS, 14 weeks of League of Legends leads us to this point. Dire Cubs
Yeah, almost.
against Mammoth Academy.
We'll bring the graphic up on your screen right now to take a look at their run. Of course, we mentioned quarters, semis, now into the grand final here today. Dire Cubs and Mammoth Academy finishing top, second, and first on the ladder, respectively. There meant that they got a free bye into the semi-finals, and then they knocked off their opponents. We saw that last week. Dire Cubs actually had a much rougher time, I would say, over their opponent in Gravitas.
Yeah.
First game certainly not going their way, and a lot of it came to do with like trying to play their style, but the adaptation from such like a solidified team, they've got a bunch of OPL experience, a coach behind them, very nice adaptation, turned that series around to get them their berth into the grand final here. And then Mammoth Academy, completely different story. There were slower games, less scrappy, but completely dominant from their side of the coin. And then both these big mammoths, if you will, be facing off in a best of 5 to take the crown here.
Yeah, both of the top seeds qualifying straight through.
It's always the way.
Not always.
Not always.
But sometimes, most of the time, you would assume, logically, that top seed, that's why you're seeded higher.
Yeah.
But both top seeds making it through, yeah, Mammoth 2-0, pretty easy. Didn't really look like Mprox was ever really going to win. But then on the other side, I think the other semi-finals were a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
For me, standout was Kweku.
Yes.
Solo kills across the board.
Onto Guapi, which...
He is
Yeah.
Well, Guapi, no slouch. I certainly have been praising him all year. Every game that I've casted that I've seen from him has been super strong. But Kweku sort of was a sub-top.
Yeah.
Sub-top. Even though
Played
he's played
most games.
most games. Played majority of the games this year. Dragku, of course, was in China for a little bit, then got promoted to
AV top lane.
Advance roster. But I think Kweku had a standout performance last week, and I mean, he's really up against it this week. Redemption.
Yeah.
Another player I've been full of praise for this year. I think this top matchup is going to be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is, right? Because you kind of hit it off. Kweku solo killing Guapi was kind of came out of nowhere, I believe. And then going into this one, I was saying just before broadcast, like taking a look at the match histories of these two teams, Riven has been up once and not picked by Mammoth in like 3 patches. So it's like the only time it's made it through draft, hasn't been picked or banned, like once.
It's only made it through draft. Wait.
Other teams
all the
ban
way
it,
out of the draft.
or he just takes it like straight up every single time. It's only ever happened once in like 3 patches. And we are, of course, like locked in 9.14, the playoff patch here.
Just 2 patches behind live.
Live is sitting at 9.16. But like when you play one single game a weekend, like that's like 6 weeks of play with this guy. It's just, you know what I mean?
Either
getting his
playing
comfort.
or getting Riven banned.
Yeah.
I mean, he is insane at the champ. He is easily the 2nd best Riven in Oceania.
Who's
but,
first?
I am.
Sure.
No, but the guy's insane. And not just on Riven. Like Fiora, Aurelia, Jack, like any of those bruisers, as we instantly get the ban out of Dire Cubs, any of those, you know, high skill ceiling bruisers, he seems to gravitate toward and displays a mastery of the champions for sure.
And just setting up this game, right? Both of these two teams coming into it, and to oversimplify, I was saying this at the end of the semi-finals, like they get their wins and Battle of 2 Titans at the top of the leaderboards here. Dire Cubs does seem like the cerebral team, right? Like they won their semi-final due to adaptation, like in for the long haul. They started off the season playing a bunch of Sona Tarek, right? Udisoft gets like a tempo jungler, but it is all about the team play for them coming together as a whole, whereas Mammoth On the other side, like, we were just talking specifically about Redemps, but you go down the lineup, like, Isles has already played a couple of games in the OPL this split, like, debut performance looked good. These are just a bunch of good individuals that coming together on the day is just working out incredibly well here.
Well, I think one of the interesting things about 2019 in general, talking about Mammoth Academy, they definitely seem like a win lane, win game type of team. They're just drafting for good lane matchups and then hoping that carries them, into the mid game with a lead, and then they, you abuse your priority to establish a gold lead. Blah blah blah. We've all heard that before. But what's interesting about 2019 is that seems like the meta. Yeah. It just seems like you just want to play to win lane. You're going to scrap, and better team will win. Or better mechanically better skirmishing team will win. I suppose it's not a surprise in that sense to see Mammoth doing so well. Yeah, 100% right, because 2019 was kind of the birth of plating into League of Legends, added extra gold into turrets meant that laning just meant put on the laning so much more. Was SKT like a Azir Sivir? Was that 2018? Was that last year? No, that was 17. Oh, damn, that's so old. Okay. Yeah, that's when we were still playing. Yeah. Because that was the last... No, it was maybe even the year before. 2016? Yeah, I think it was the year before, actually. Because I remember I played versus you. We played Grand Final, we had best of 5, we played all 5 games, and every game was like you get Azir and we would get Sivir, and you would just trade them. Sure. Anyway, it's not about us. Yeah, no. It's about Kweku and Redemps, who are both playing AD carry this game. Yeah, and I like the adaptation coming out of Dire Cubs already. Xayah is Miasma's absolutely most played, most comfortable champion. They like to play a lot of Xayah Rakan in the hands of Isles. It is, in speaking about the Rakan, probably his best champ. So denying the Lovers duo down there, at least half of it, is a very smart play here. And the response is going to be swift, though. Miasma getting himself the Kai'Sa locked in. Watching last week's VODs, I was casting, of course, but Miasma and Isles and the Xayah Rakan playing super aggro in lane, setting up ganks for their jungler. Obviously, strongest spot lane in the meta, 2v2 at least, with traditional AD carry. Yep. So not a surprise to see Dire Cubs move toward that one. The first pick Xayah. You don't really want Rakan on his own. And unless you can take it to deny, but really if you haven't already banned in your first 3 bans, it's sort of a given. Yeah, certainly is. They're going to lock that one down. Don't want to drop it in priority, get it banned away in the second 2 or anything like that. The one AD carry that Mammoth Academy specifically have played, other than the Xayah with the Rakan, is that Kai'Sa. So I like the lock-in. Gragas, it's a bit of an ambitious choice here, but it's just going to be the support matchup, so they may just get double bans in the jungle to shepherd that matchup through. Yeah, and I think Dire Cubs are not jungle-centric, but I think jungles are obviously a really important role. But it doesn't surprise me to see a team with an ex-OPL coach and ex-OPL players opt into duo lane and jungle in the first 3. Yeah, it's like the quintessential pro player draft opening. Yeah, shows very little, hard to counter. So much flexibility. It really you hide all your power in your last 2 picks. Yeah, just a really classic strong opener. They've, of course, got themselves a bunch of CC as well locked in. Nothing needed to round out the rest of the comp. Nautilus is going to be probably the expected lock-in here, and absolutely Mammoth take that one away in the Kai'Sa. This is kind of a matchup of old, somewhat. Nautilus coming back into the meta, but is not just going to sit back against the Xayah Rakan and be like, okay, you've picked strong priority, we can't fight. It certainly is matchable. It does kind of skew the matchup a little bit more, where Nautilus into Xayah is a hard time. Your ulti can just get immediately counterpicked. Featherstorm comes out, Death Charge does absolutely nothing, so Rakan does become a lot more of the target down there. I think a lot of Xayah interaction, having the ability to predictably blow it, I think is also really strong. Yeah, just having a tool where it's when I do this, she has to ult. Yeah, so don't use any abilities. Just save all your stuff until she ults, and then once she ults, everybody drops their CC. There's nothing left for her to do other than flash. So I think even though there is there's levels, right? There's counterplay option 1, but then there's option 2 below that. It's sort of a mind game between the 2 of you. Double jungle bans out of Dire Cubs, like you predicted. Karthus, Rek'Sai. Karthus seeing a bit of a resurgence. Both really strong. Yeah, I think people got scared by the nerfs, as they always do. Yeah. Immediately, because Karthus did get touched a few times, but ultimately what makes him so strong is just his ability to clear uncontested, faster than the enemy, and then just to be super relevant for the rest of the game. And the nerfs weren't enough to stop you from being able to do that. So essentially he's still just not as good, but playable. Still good, does Karthus things. Sylas jungle is kind of making a little bit of resurgence as well. Given the patch changes, he was OP solo laner, must pick
and then goes into the and then it was like, okay, no, Sejuani first pick into Sylas jungle is going to be the response, but yeah, it's kind of a little bit back, not locked into any sort of situation as of yet. The Renekton flexible can go to Redemps, can go to Halo, Sylas, probably in the same boat. So Mammoth just leaving their options open right now. Yeah,
with Sylas, like he goes all 3 side lanes and jungle. It's just nothing to. It's just, I mean, Flex is definitely the meta at the moment, and it has been for a while. But Sylas jungle, like Sylas lane, still strong, but you fall into that melee versus range counter pick scenario where it can still be tough to lane sometimes. But jungle Sylas, no laning, just free scaling, clears healthy, strong in skirmish with Conqueror. Gets access to lots of ults. One of the thing about solo lane or Sylas, particularly top lane Sylas,
you just
get trapped in an island. You can only take your opponent's ult or maybe the jungler's ult, but jungle Sylas can you can walk into a lane that you have no business ganking. You don't gank, you just take his ult, walk away, use it somewhere else. Yeah,
the single Sylas rolling all over the map there. And this is going to be the last lock-in, so Sylas jungle is going to be the name of the game here. And to round out the rest of the comp was an LB and a Poppy. So taking a look at this one, you mentioned Flex is the meta. Mammoth got to do exactly that, but Diacubs go for something much more standard. Yes, Assassin-ish in the mid lane, but that's a lot of gank potential. Chain lands onto a Liss, a Gragas follow-up, any sort of stuff like that. There's a lot of proactivity the Diacubs have locked in for themselves and trying to make this stuff happen early.
I feel like the Diacubs comp is the sort of comp you would expect to see in a best of 5
in game one
on stage, where it's like, okay, we've got a lot of simple combos, not necessarily easy to pull off, but like a lot of simple combos, a lot of obvious engage tools where, like, if I do X, you do Y, and we don't need, it's not super complex, it's not 1-3-1, it's not
team fight front
CC,
to back,
like skirmish, anything like that. It's just like, okay, I'm going to E-flash in, I'm going to ult them. And then, like, we got Warbang, we got Zyrakan, we got LeBlanc. Like, we're just not going to lose lane. We're going to have CC in the mid game, and we're just going to play the game the way it needs to be played, and that hopefully should net us a win.
And a standard game of League of Legends, we're chilling.
But they're not on stage. I mean, it is still grand final, so there are still, of course,
there,
nerves. But yeah, I suppose it's funny to see a team still doing the same sorts of things that we usually blame on things like stage nerves.
Well,
but they're not on stage.
I probably disagree, right? Like, it's just like Diacub's playstyle. Like, I like this.
Okay.
It suits them best. Yep. Right? Like, they, I don't think, and I was kind of saying this before this game started, like the semifinals first game, Gravitas have their one distinct style. It's like Twitch, it's like GP, blind pick scaling.
Yeah.
They want to play through the side lane, and Kweku individually had good laning phases, but they went for the Fiora, and unfortunately the game just didn't pan out the way they wanted. And those 2 next games were like, okay, back to basics. Let's not play their style.
Do what we do.
Let's just do what we do. And going up against Mammoth here, why play the lane kingdom, right? It's been so successful for them time and time again over the course of the split. There was that kind of split game in the middle of the season that handed the undefeated record over. And yeah, here we are. First game of the grand final. And a 3-bush.
Aftershock Lissandra, I feel like that's not something we see so much anymore.
Yeah.
Not very lane kingdom. Good
answer into the LB for something that has just like such a broadcast combo we were mentioning. Like LB goes in, lands chain, Gragas just predators in from the side lane. That's a self-ulti waiting to happen, and you do have that outplay potential. It's kind of safe, and you scale very well. We'll say also kind of like pseudo-tankiness. They don't have a pure frontline in the hands of Mammoth. They've got Renekton, he'll get himself like a Shojin, a Cleaver, he'll be tanky, Nautilus can be the same, but don't have the big beefy frontline like the Poppy will provide, so everybody having their own tools makes sense.
Suimen burning 80 mana for an auto attack there, but burning the bone plating.
Yeah.
It's going to set him up well in this lane. Is W 80 mana? I think so.
Asserting dominance nonetheless.
Important to do.
Yes.
Game 1, you just remind him. It's important just to remind the enemy sometimes, like, hey, I'm here.
I'm in this bush.
You're not playing against a bot. I'm a real person.
And I have 80 mana.
It's like the first gank. Sometimes, oh, is it a reset? No.
Ooh.
Nice. Sometimes you just need to gank to let the opponent know that you're still jungling. Like, you're not just AFK clearing top to bottom. It's just like, oh, you do, like, I was never going to kill you here.
But I'm thinking about it.
But now you need to think about me.
Yeah, okay. This is it. This is the insight into competitive jungling that I've never seen before.
Yeah,
I don't think about you
don't think about stuff like
laners,
that. Yeah.
They all have opponents. You see them all the time. Junglers, yeah, you guys can just
sometimes you got to let them know.
Yep. Okay. Sure. Makes a lot of sense.
One pot down. Which means we must have missed a trade. There's another trade. Nice trade back from Halo there, though.
Yeah.
That's the Aftershock proc. Pops a clone.
That realistically is the combo there, right? The Aftershock denies any sort of follow-up damage. LeBlanc's is, especially when she gets like access to all of her abilities, it is like a Q, a dash forward, then the chain lands, and think about the chain, it kind of ticks the majority of its damage at the end of that one, so it is kind of delayed. Aftershock comes through, CC's him, and very nice trade backwards, so Halo feeling comfortable.
Do you know what the cooldown difference is between Electrocute and Aftershock?
No.
Electrocute would be shorter, right?
Yes. Aftershock is like 40, 45 seconds.
Wow, that's really long.
Yeah, it is. It's real long.
I mean, it would be super OP if it was shorter.
Yeah, if you're an Alistar in lane with like Aftershock
and
and
you
you
just
just
keep
every 10
every
seconds when your
WQ,
combo
yeah.
is up, it's available.
Yeah,
You just take negative damage, so...
Counter jungling. Ubisoft using lane priority in the bot lane. As we see another chain land. There's that second Aftershock proc.
Yeah.
Sweetman doesn't have Ignite.
Doesn't have any mana either. You can see the flank is coming from the bot side. Kevy in behind the LeBlanc, but level up is going to dissuade him somewhat. Very, very volatile lane in the mid lane, and neither jungler gets a gank off to secure the kill.
Ubisoft just helping get this wave in. Picks up some extra CS for himself as well. No wards in that bot side river, but I think the call just came out from Corporal saying like, hey guys, Nord's gone as well. Could be a jungler mid, be careful.
Yeah, it could be a rough time given they just invaded blue, kind of use their tempo. That kind of, once you get to competitive play, walk up, steal the blue away, and don't want to continue forcing even further. Everybody knew that both junglers were down there. The pink ward spotted Ubisoft as he walked out of the jungle and was kind of awkward. Seaman obviously getting the better end of that trade at the back end, but no mana to continue following up, so you can call anybody back over. Now just taking a look at the top side matchup for the time being. Only 4 minutes into the game, but haven't checked in up here. Level 4's dinged. Renekton just being pushed ever so slowly underneath his turret.
Small CS lead for Kweku. Wave is going Redempt's way though, so he'll pick a couple back up. Biscuiteer, as well as the Corrupting Pot for Poppy, means she's
And
just going to stay in that lane forever.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what happens at 6. The Sweetman again trading super aggressive in this lane phase so far. Kweku is behind Halo though.
Okay, Claw is going to come out, get himself to safety, incredibly close. If there was any CC left from the LB, then that would have been a swift E-flash from Ubisoft, and the flank from Kweku could have secured it. Diacop's getting very active on the map so far, despite not picking up a kill just yet.
Ubisoft opting to focus more on lane control and counter jungling with priority, which of course are not bad jungling strategies, but not super active in terms of ganks so far. Sweetman does still have that TP because he got help shoving the lane in the first time, so still options for him, whereas Halo, TP burned. So it needs to ride or die with this pot as we see hook land.
Yeah, okay, trade's going to come out. Response is there from Corporal, but Aftershock does a bunch of work. Feathers go out of the back end though, actually, Miasma. Been quite chunked here, and especially on the bottom side of the map, Diacubs have had the lion's share of control right now, continuing to pressure this one in.
Ooh, grounded.
Okay.
Kevy sneaking his way back into the back. We'll see whether this turns into a dive. Redempts is level 6.
Oh, they actually go for it. Redempts doesn't have the stun available, but Kweku falling incredibly low. Renekton still posturing forwards, looking for the first blood. Turret aggro has been reset. Oh, wallbang into the turret is going to stun up the Renekton, but it does not matter at the end of the day. First blood goes to the Crocodile.
Almost outplayed by Kweku there, but Redempts not even needing to burn the flash. An amazing juggle of aggro by Kevy and Redempts. Pulling off that dive, no sums burned. Kweku without a flash, and you got to be worried now because Renekton has both his ult and the flash available, and you're level 5 without flash. The next few minutes of lane phase for this Poppy are going to be pretty scary.
And a couple of things to note before that dive happens, right? Like Poppy level 5, Renekton just hits that level 6 mark, and they kind of are on a clock. If you can wallbang somebody underneath your turret and then Poppy ulti comes through an extra 100 HP, you have the extra ability. That could have gone disastrously. But Diacub's looking for the response down here. Heal is popped very early, but Corporal gets the knock-up. TP's channeling in from the other side of the map. Both top laners going to arrive at this play. Mammoth here with a response. Halo flash over the wall, and Diacubs get absolutely routed underneath Mammoth's turret.
And that is a TP that you dread. This massive Renekton just teleporting down. He has the flash, he has the ult still, and you're in the middle of a dive. In the end, Rams picks up 2 extra kills and an assist. The wallbang lands. Kweku does have a bit of damage here.
Halo, no flash, no ulti available. Jungler is around. If he can close the distance, does have the quickness. And he's going to flash for it, actually, looking for the solo kill. TP's going to come down to the river. Kweku kiting back towards the LeBlanc.
Sweet
Heavy.
No flash, no ult. It'll be difficult for him to get in range. And in the end, all Mammoth members make it to the tower safely.
So a big swing, turn of events there. Mammoth get themselves at a 1.5 thousand gold lead, responding to the play. You kind of mentioned it, right? Like, Poppy's going to have a rough laning phase after the dive, but given that everybody went for the reset, Kweku immediately TP's down bot side, and we're going to get a replay of what happens. And
yeah, Miasma, he dies instantly. Corporal's just soaking the aggro, but as soon as Redemption gets here, it is just all over. There's nowhere for them to go. Liz has so much CC. Redemption gets that Conqueror pop almost instantly, and just the AoE from the old Q is way too much.
Yeah, and it's not very often that you kind of think about how comps interact when you're second to the play. Hold this. Feather, rip back is not going to come through. Maybe cooldown just a few seconds away there from Andrew. Couldn't find it.
Still a lot of pressure in this bot lane, and Diacub's making good use of it. Picks up another blue buff. That's both blue buffs going over to Diacub so far this game.
Halo's had absolutely nothing. And Siemens just kind of chilling there with a bunch of mana regen. It's mid laner's worst nightmare.
Hurts most about that dive failing is that Diacubs had put so much effort into establishing priority mid and that bot side river control. We saw Ubisoft come mid a number of times just to shove the wave in as E-Flash lands, and good night, Halo.
Yep, knock up into knock up. Very easy kill secured. They did have the ulti, but chooses not to use it. Would have been dead to rights anyway, so Diacubs, just as you mentioned it before, right before the dive, yes, they set up, used their bot side control, lost it, but
I mean, when you invest like 2 to 4 minutes into a play and then it backfires, it's super disheartening. It's just, as the jungler, as Ubisoft, it's like, okay, I didn't gank, I opted into shoving this wave in like 2 or 3 times, countered blues, you know, established ward control. Then we walk down with the 4 of us, and like, it's like you tick all the boxes except the final one. And actually we're at 1.5k down now. It makes the next play, you know, you're just a little bit more nervous about how that might go. A little bit more
hesitant to make another play on the bottom side. Which is somewhat interesting as well. Remember what happened immediately after the dive, right? Kweku looked for an opportunity onto the list and then got chunked out by the Silas, walked the long way back to top side where Redemption had shoved that wave in. Finds himself a turret, and he's on like 20% HP, can't answer, doesn't have TP, so just goes for the reset. And basically that dive after the dive top side has meant that this is about a 30-ish CS lead in the top lane. Renekton, 2k gold up. That's
the entirety of the gold lead. Just in this top lane.
Sitting on Redemps. He's a monster.
Yeah,
he's got 1.5k to spend. He's about to buy his first item.
Yeah, I was about to say that actually this lane is looking pretty even despite the deficit. I was like, okay, he's 30 CS down, but like, Redemps isn't trading super hard. Kweku still seems healthy. He still has pots. The wave isn't crashing super hard. You know what I mean? Like, he's still able to sort of wave clear without dying. But that might be a little bit different now that the Crocodile has an extra BF sword.
Yeah, it's working on his Shojin. Normally that's kind of like the thing, right? Like, yes, Shojin, the new age build, but Renekton's before that point were like, I want to finish my cleaver. Like, Shojin is a bit of a luxury item, but when you do get incredibly snowballed, a Shojin Renekton, like, you think about carries. Like, LeBlanc gets incredibly far ahead, but she's one-shottable.
Yeah, if she gets tagged by CC, it's like, okay, at least we can kill her. Like, oh, she stuffed up, she stuffed up.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to shut down, like, we're back in this game.
Yeah, but then Redemps gets himself, like, Shojin Merc Treads, has a single target, like, CC that chunks for a 30 or HP bar and a 3-second cooldown.
Yeah.
Can be incredibly problematic, and you can see Diacubs, their response, they just flip the map. There's no way the Poppy can realistically lane into this guy, even with the Cinder, even with the Ninja Tabbies.
Yeah,
and,
I think
down the bottom lane, and here we go.
This is another Season 9 classic, and that is the double lane swap into Herald contest. Usually see it from the winning team, but sometimes you can do it against Tempo if it's a surprise. But unfortunately for Diacubs, they flipped the map, but Mammoth still end up with the Herald, trading the bot wave, leaving Redemption topside, just letting them know, like, hey, if you can test this, like, you're all gonna die. Like, we will ace you. So they trade a couple platings on the bot side for the Herald, but you know, all things considered, assuming that this Herald gets used, you probably pick those platings back up.
Yeah.
Redemp's already has 30 CS lead. Like, you know, losing 10 isn't going to hurt him.
And sticking around top lane to eat that extra wave gets him to the Shojin power spike, so no money wasted on some brown bags or boots of any kind, just straight Tiamat for the animation cancelling, Shojin to just cancel your cooldowns, just take them off.
You just keep eating.
And you
just keep slicing and dicing.
You just chase him down. The one thing Poppy has into the Renekton is like, okay, like I'm going to W your dash, but if it doesn't land, then it's just like dash galore all over the place. And
well, the good thing about it, about the change for Poppy is the new grounded. So it's like, okay, because it used to be you just
knock them
tank
back.
one and then well, you couldn't do the second because the first one got cancelled. But with other champs, you just tank one knock up and then you use your other ability. But now that you're grounded, it's not a possibility.
And is actually a potential gank being looked at.
Do
they have the damage?
How you going?
2 versus 1 potential. Redemp's fighting in the wave. Ulti pop for the Shojin proc. Everything coming out of Diacubs. Udisoft getting absolutely one hit off the back end. Flash is going to come through. Very nicely timed stopwatch. Kweku does get the shield off the back end. Ticking down, and a flash Q secures it.
That was so
Somehow they
nerve-wracking.
take Redemp's
How
down.
on earth did that work? Rift Herald dropped in the middle lane. That's 3 planings going over. Suiman doing his best to clear the wave, but Cops ult in the face.
And Corporal looking for the response, but so much CC landing, and Diacubs get one hit off the back end. TP comes through.
Okay, Rift Herald's going to get killed here. Tower doesn't fall in the end. 1-for-1 trade on that mid lane as well as the platings. But that bot lane 2v2 was so close. Redemption just pixels away, health bars away from just the Triumph proc into the easy double. And some expert kiting, good flash use. Means that they get that shutdown as Isles. He wants this fight.
Yeah, he's going to lock down the Poppy. Kevi is here. Miasma ults into the back line. Very nice read onto the Xayah, but is going to get one hit off the back end. Stopwatch comes through, but Silas dead to rights. Now Mammoth retreating back to their base. Yes, they pick up the Poppy. Seaman forces them just a little bit further, and another 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane.
Kevi saw his name in lights there. Goes with the flash forward, but immediately gets hit by that feather rip, and Andrew just does so much damage.
Essence Reaver has flat AD, has the cooldown reduction, and that means the feathers certainly hurt there. Did just get one hit, and the rest of the boys were off chasing a Poppy. He's just screaming Andrew's name, and they're just like, Kweku, we're going to kill Kweku.
Kweku, kill him.
Kill him they did, but stopwatch burnt. Silas goes down, a little bit of rough territory there.
And all of a sudden, Diacubs have found themselves with a 500 gold lead.
Yeah.
Quick 500 in the back pocket from 2k down.
Not to mention 1,000 gold deficit accounted for with the shutdown in the bottom lane. They take down Redemps.
Was that 1,000 gold?
Well, I mean, like total, he was 2k down. Is now basically like he's 1k behind, if not less. True. He gets the kill, he gets the shutdown gold, gets to push out the wave, and TP to a winning trade in the mid lane as well. So certainly feeling all right now. The Poppy was kind of sitting in dire straits, but the 30 CS lead topside is just proven a little bit small, given the 40 CS lead between the 80 carries right now. So Andrew is feeling good.
I mean, Kweku has pretty much entirely opted into armor build.
Yeah.
He's just
holding
on to those Ninja Tabis by the skin of his teeth, just refusing to let go. But we have 3 AP champions, Kaisa, Liss, and Silas on the other side. And it might be that in a team fight, he dies quicker than he expects.
Certainly could be the case. Mammoth using a bit of time to take down a dragon. It's just an air, and see Diacubs looking to punish on the other side of the map. Redemps, the one member deployed up there, forced to sit just underneath his inner turret. No vision inside his own jungle, so Andrew Corporal, they take down a red buff. Seaman Udisoft, the other duo, are going to look to take down a top turret, but a little bit too healthy for the time being.
I really like the way Diacubs are utilizing their mid pressure at the moment to alleviate that side lane pressure that the Renekton is putting on. They're consistently getting mid priority, moving into the jungle, putting pinks down on the side that Renekton is playing to. Udisoft is trying to hover that lane as much as possible. We've seen, the hard work is done. The hard work was that first gank, that first 2v1, that 9 times out of 10, Renekton just stomps, right? But the hard work has now been done, and Gragas now is a real threat to the Renekton in the side lane. Had very little MR, now has the Mertreads at least, which will help. But was threatened against the LeBlanc name as well. And it's just... Redemps was in a position where he was about to take over the game.
Yeah.
And that hasn't
slapped
happened.
down, and trajectory completely changes here. Gold lead now 200 between the two teams, so basically even right now. Dragon was taken just a couple of minutes ago, so still about 4 minutes on that cooldown. In saying that, though, there's a lot of members contesting in the mid lane. Flanks on either side. You can see Daikub sitting on a pink ward top side. Mammoth doing almost the same thing on the bottom lane. Claw goes in, looking for Andrew, but Halo gets the flash, and ulti is popped, so Andrew probably wins that trade, feeling good on the Xayah.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, you definitely take ult for a flash. But if they come back a second time, Halo will have Claw, and Andrew doesn't have a way out. So there is the possibility there for the re-engage, but doesn't look like they're going to opt into it. Daikub's now trying to pressure this mid turret. They were expecting 5 mid, so they've brought 5 mid as well. Get a few autos off, but not really much doing.
Yeah, and that's kind of exactly what you were saying coming into fruition. Without the Feather Storm, Xayah doesn't really feel comfortable stepping up with a wave, hitting that turret, and despite Kweku kind of rotating over, not looking for anything, so play looked for in the mid lane, but everything fizzles at the end of the day.
It's not really a win until your ult comes back up off cooldown. Because otherwise you're just, you know, one key spell down on both sides. But I would argue that, the Feather Storm way more important for Xayah than Flash for his force.
Ooh, potential 2 versus 2 setting up in the bottom side. Kevy sneaks through all the vision. And are looking for it. Kweku's actually trading back very nicely. So much armor in the Corrupting Pot actually does work, so Redemps kind of cops it, does just back away. Seaman barely just doesn't land the chain there.
Kweku playing incredibly aggro. He knows that Ubisoft is behind it, but he might not know that Kweku is here. Oh, that is a lot of CC.
And Ubisoft comes in and one hits them off the back end. Shojin coming through though. No mana on the Poppy. Ubisoft does all of their damage. Second rotation of the Body Slam, and a flash will get himself to safety. So Summon is gone, but they pick up 1 kill onto Kevy. Yeah,
and despite the outplay with the CC, their redemption is still strong enough to warrant a bit of fear in that 2v1. Miasma almost snipes him. He thought about ulting for a second. He walked back into tower range, but
it was a moment.
Thought better of it. Andrew and Corporal are here though. Try and protect his bot tower, but again, redemption in that 2v1. He's still incredibly strong. He's still 3-1. He still has a 40 CS lead. Just because he died 1 time doesn't mean that he's not that killer croc that he was 10 minutes ago.
And kind of grant Mammoth access to the bottom side of the map. The double reset having to come through meant that they walk bottom side, pick up a red buff, now have a faster track to mid lane, demolish. Probably not even needed to take down this mid turret. So Mammoth, first turret broken on Daikub's side of the coin is the mid lane, which certainly is feeling good. Opens up the map somewhat for the list to play around.
And all of this comes from that skirmish that we just saw. I mean, really, yes, the Mammoth jungler died, and yes, that is 300-ish gold over to the Daikub side, but if it results in 2 burned flashes and a mid tower, you're probably taking that trade. On paper, if someone gives you an envelope, oh, wait a minute.
Or is he going to land a response there from Ubisoft? Goes into stasis and gets himself
Heavy flashes forward.
Out of this. Heavy looking for a chain. He's going to land onto Rakan. Corporal is the target, and Miasma goes deep into the backline. Feathers rip back Andrew, dishing out damage, but is it going to be enough? Seaman now in from the flank, does so much damage with the distortion, but it looks to be Mammoth's team fight. Redemps finally lands.
Andrew's back
Maybe Seaman with the flank at the back end. Chain is going to land, and Andrew now untouched. So back and forth. Feathers rip back, and Daikubs walk away with it.
What a team fight from Andrew there. Miasma saw his name in lights, ults forward. Unfortunately, Andrew just had a few feathers out already, rips him out, and one-shots the Kai'Sa. Flashes over the wall at the same time, and then re-enters the team fight about 5 or so seconds later. That red buff health regen, along with a Triumph proc that he probably got.
It was a fake replay.
Yeah, but it is real. I don't know about this flash forwards from Kevy.
It's also fake again. It was just,
this is the real one though. Here we go.
Here we go. Round 3.
Okay, Claw comes out from Halo.
Nice predict.
Corporal tries to tag him with the ult before he can ult himself. Unable to. Kevy with the most ambitious Silas Flash. But watch Andrew. Miasma ults forward to get 1 kill, but he just one-shots and flashes over the wall. Red buff, health regen, means that he's going to get back here. Huge chunk out of Suiman as well. Poppy just so difficult to kill, so much armor. But as soon as Andrew gets back to this team fight, Halo tries his best. He does hit Claw, but not enough damage on the Aftershock list, unfortunately.
Same spot
4-1-4.
Yeah, Andrew comes back and then rips back Feathers from exactly the same position to...
Deja vu.
Yeah, to hit Halo. And I kind of said it before, alluded to with the Essence first buy, but the new Xayah build just means the Feathers deal so much more damage, right? It's not like a Storm Razor
AD.
into Energizer items. Like the straight AD ratio
You got those two big swords.
of double AD items just means that they do so much damage.
TP coming.
Gonna throw Renekton away, and yeah, Diacubs just pick up the Silas, and 4-4 right now in the hands of Kevy.
Suiman, the quiet achiever so far this game. He hasn't, he's not popping off huge on the scoreboard, but I'd be curious to see his damage graph at the end, because I feel like I'm seeing a lot of chunks, just not many last hits.
Yeah.
Out of the LeBlanc.
It's probably not the best champion to be on, not getting the last hit. It kind of
I
feels
mean, you
bad.
just want the last hit.
But,
oh,
okay. Jungler dead.
7 assist stacks on the ring.
True, Darkseid stacking up. W's going to come through. Seaman actually face tanks that one. Kweku just running interference, being the goalie
They have to
right
guess
now.
at this stage, right? There's no way a LeBlanc just runs back and forth on the Baron pit like that if they're not doing it.
And they don't have a ward. No, actually they do. Isles has 6 available right now, or 5 is the number, but 1.4k. No contest going to be there. Not sure if Mammoth, I'm assuming they knew, would have seen the Poppy, but
I mean, pings
they just
go
conceded.
down. Okay, I mean, did they know, did they not know? If they knew, it's an interesting choice not to contest. I mean, Silas was in base, which means it would have been 4v5, but at the same time, Renekton does have TP. And that's exactly the type of fight that a fat Renekton wants to get involved in. A lot of AoE damage, a lot of opportunities to heal. He has Black Cleaver, Tiamat, Shojin, like, Crocodile's going to while out in that river for sure. But the alternative is that they just didn't know and afraid to check because maybe they're all, you know, maybe LeBlanc, maybe they're all there.
Yeah, I think they absolutely did know. They just didn't want to go in for the fight. Like, I'd give them benefit of the doubt. QSS was taken, stopwatch there for the Gragas, so you're starting a 4 versus 5 where they do have defensive tools and maybe not willing to pull the trigger. Predator was popped here by Ubisoft, just kind of forcing Mammoth out of the mid lane. Of course, it was 0 members dead during the Baron, which isn't very common. Attempted pick, but the
TP behind as well.
It's going to land. Yeah, Renekton coming into the Raptor pit just below the screen right now, but Ubisoft falling incredibly low at the start of this one. Poppycopter is channeled. Target he goes for, knocks back 2. It's now a 5 versus 3. Ubisoft already dead. Seaman looking for more. Redemp's falling incredibly low, but can they pick up the kill? Seaman flashes forward. Auto attack's going to pick that up, and now the bottom lane of Diacubs has finally arrived. 1 for 1 at the end of the day, and Diacubs still looking to pressure with the Baron.
Yeah, Kweku with a monster Poppy ult there, peels the backline of Mammoth, sends them all the way home. Miasma and Isles nowhere to be seen. I mean, that was a 5v4 originally. Andrew stuck in the top side, choosing to clear the way with the top side instead of grouping with his team, and super hard force. They had the flank TP from the Renekton, but Kweku just
pops
slams him.
Pops him back to base.
Says, no thank you. You can go home. No team fight today.
Sends
Suiman with the
2k gold lead.
That flash W as well on the back end, picking up the Renekton kill. Having a blinder, Suiman.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you can look at probably all of the members on this Diacubs team. They've all had individual moments so far in this game where they have made a difference, and that's what you want in a final, right? It's a grand final. You want an even contribution from your team, and so far Direwolves are exemplifying that.
Yep, 100% stepping it up. Seaman, low mana, doesn't have a lot to continue this fight. Seaman goes back, lands a chain the second time, but has a blue buff, so is ticking up just a little bit every single second. Is he going to go for the contest? Blue orb comes out, spots out Isles. Kevin on the flank once again. Distort should be up by now. Chain will have to be a prediction.
Kweku's here, though.
Not going to land. The hook lands from Isles. Kweku turning this one around. Not ulti actually gets fizzled by the LeBlanc passive. Knock up at the back end. Miasma into the back line once again. Kweku now the target. Stuck between 4 members. But Seaman behind enemy lines right now. They do have the Gragas arriving. Looking to get one. Kevy is the target. Taken down with the electrocute proc. Ubisoft at the back end is looking for the Lissandra. A fight on so many fronts. Miasma still alive, but no flash, no heal. It's just a little Kaiser in a big bad world. And Andrew cleans up the back end, 5-1 on the Xayah. Such a long one, but Diacubs walk away with everything.
Yeah, no TP on the Renekton, man. Unfortunately, it was 5v4. The longer they fought, the more opportunity it gave Diacubs to regroup, and it was a It was a 1v1 turned skirmish, turned 4v5.
Turned 1v1 again.
Everyone just throwing down the gauntlet saying, all right, this is it. This top lane is where we decide the outcome of the game. Like, bring it on. Opting into the Mechanics Max team fight. And Diacubs come out ahead, working on this middle inhib now. That's going to give them some extra map control. Kevy with E1. E2 hits the creep.
And remember, they did have Baron buff, so Kweku bases on like 1 HP, TP's mid lane, drops a ZZ Rot portal, and just hits the inhib.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, we'll take another look at how this one starts. Hook goes down and does fizzle here onto
landing
CMN.
this kill onto Suiman. They blew the ult on the
Passive.
clone, and that baited all their damage onto the LeBlanc clone. Meanwhile, Suiman gets back into this bush, and he's just sitting here waiting for his opportunity. I thought for a moment he might die trying to go for this play, but the chain lands onto Kevy. He ends up trading 1-for-1, and I mean, yeah, Andrew Cone's over. At this point, you're not getting out. You just got to try and pick up as many exit kills as you can before you die, but that Nord ult just...
And it sucks.
It
does. That is a harsh way to lose a team fight. You pop the ulti just as your ally dings enough damage, so LeBlanc passive pops, and then clone spits, so you have to cast it again.
Pressing R on, like, you can't see anything, and you're just pressing R on the space. Like, wherever she is, I'm ulting her. Because either way, because even if you ult a clone, in an ideal world where you know which one is real, just the knock-up on the real one, even if, you know what I mean?
The clone gets one hit, it doesn't even matter.
LeBlanc is going to get knocked up, regardless of whether the ult is targeted on her or not. But if it baits your jungler into flashing forward and blowing his entire load onto a clone, then...
It wasn't even just Kevy, right?
It's not ideal.
Miasma ults into the back line, hits a LeBlanc that is not real, and teamfight goes one way fast. So now, fighting uphill still is Mammoth. 3k gold lead, actually down from
Baron's up soon
a little bit before, but yeah, you mentioned it. 14 seconds left before the Baron spawn is available. Couple of key components now completed. The Guinsus, the Runar's there for Kai'Sa. Stopwatch is in the hands of the list, so he has the one-time use Zhonya's right now, but still Diacubs feeling strong. Predator popped.
If you want to talk about item spikes, Diacubs the item spikes galore. Kevy's in trouble. E2 gets him out.
Okay.
E1 rather, but if you want to talk about item spikes, I mean, Diacubs across the board. There's barely a component in sight. 3 completed items and boots on Poppy.
That's actually
3 completed items and boots on Gragas. 3 completed items and boots on LeBlanc. 3.5 items. I mean, you can call
He's got a
QSS,
stopwatch and a QSS.
Yeah, like, it's really... This is almost training mode builds. This is a practice tool build. It's like, okay, how much damage do I do at this spike? Bye. DC just across the board, ready to fight. Any opportunity, I think, to tango for them is going to be positive.
Yeah. Right now you can see it. They have the Infernal Dragon as well, remember. Double Air Dragons in the hands of Mammoth. Pushing out the side lanes are the solo laners of Diacubs. Remember the ZZ Rot portal. Not sure, it actually isn't on cooldown, so I'm assuming it hasn't been placed top lane as of yet, but Diacubs, they do have that option. They can push the side lanes. They've set up slow pushes in both of these lanes right now, so you can see a very intentional choice to push those out and now step up towards the Baron buff.
Yeah, I mean, ZZ is a dangerous tool, though. You lose XP using it. They're already losing XP in one lane, that being the mid lane.
Super creeps.
Super creeps deny a ton of golden XP. You rely on it to shove the wave to get map control, but it also means you get denied creep. Baron does get started up, but all of Mammoth are around, so we'll see whether or not they continue to deal with deeps. They cleared the ward. Suiman and Corporal, they're waiting for this engage zone.
Hook is going to land half onto the Rakan, but doesn't quite connect at the end of the day. 7,000 gold is the Baron right now. Remember, last one was taken down without any contest, so Mammoth not wanting to fall to the same fate. Hook is going to land. Isle's going to start this one off, but the Nautilus just gets one hit off the back end. It's a 1-for-1 right now. Kevy into the back lines is going to find another one, and Diacubs just cleaning house. Redempts with the Shojin. The back end, the 1 versus 4 in the Crocodile, tanking the Baron buff right now, doing his absolute best, but an ace is there. Diacubs immediate ping into the mid lane, and they want the end.
Yeah, is that going to be the game? Redemption almost with the 1v3 hero moment, but unfortunately that Baron, just the extra man on the Diacubs lineup, and would have dealt a ton of damage, shred a bunch of resist, and that's a TP from Suiman. They're going to run straight into mid lane trying to end the game. 9 seconds on Isles, 17 seconds on Kevy. They do have a super creep as well. I don't think Isle spawning is going to be enough to dissuade them from ending this game. And
yeah, the
this
Nautilus
looks like 1-0 for Dicups.
ulti is going to come out. The one-man defense, you mentioned it, is going to be the attempted play, but
2 seconds on Miasma.
does not look like it. Actually, Kevy
Wait a
may
minute.
just be able to find this one. Kweku falling incredibly low. Do they have the damage? The super creeps are here, remember. Mammoth on the respawn, trying to clutch it, but no is the answer. Dire Cubs 1-0 up in the grand final to kick us off today.
I wasn't sure whether they could end, but
Yeah.
Superman absolutely was sure, because he was like, not only can I end, I'm going to kill Kai'Sa again before I do. Stops autoing the Nexus, turns around, one-shots a Kai'Sa, then finishes the game in style.
Yeah.
Huge opener from Dicups. They were up against it early on, Redemption with that massive lead, but stabilized really well, used their bot lane priority across all stages of the game. They used it from bot into jungle, from mid into topside. A brilliantly played game from them, I think.
Yeah, and you said like stylish and the way they stabilized it, right? Like it really was that one kill very early onto the 3-0 Renekton.
Yeah.
Like that was when you're looking
That
at
was
Mammoth and
huge.
it's like, okay,
Yep.
this is looking incredibly scary. They turn it around from that point. It's like, okay, Zyra Khan, plonk them mid and we just take them
'em.
everywhere we want to
Yeah.
go.
It's-
And yeah, that was good cohesive play there from the Dire Cubs.
It's one of those moments that we've seen so many times before, where the enemy top laner, Bruiser, it doesn't have to be Renekton, but Bruiser is fed. They're in the side lane. They don't have a tower because the lanes have been swapped. Jungler comes to gank, and bang. Fed Bruiser, 2v1, super easy.
Game
Other
over.
side has
5-0
numbers advantage.
Renekton.
Like, they just across the map. But not this time. A
Analysis.
massive 2v1. A massive 2v1.
Yep.
I mean, that was honestly so well played. They barely scrape out of it, but they get that shutdown goal. They kill the tempo. Yeah, a huge performance out of Dicups. And a great opener, just from both sides.
Yeah.
It was a really entertaining game. I think that hopefully sets the standard super high for tonight's games. I mean, if all the games are like that, I think we're going to have a really good time.
Yeah, potentially 4 more left on the cards. Incredibly even gold lead. Basically the same the entirety of that one. But it is going to be the Dire Cubs picking up the first victory. Game number 2 will be shortly after this break. So grab a drink. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Down here. Heal is popped very early, but Corporal gets the knock up. TP's channeling in from the other side of the map. Both top laners going to arrive at this play. Mammoth here with a response. Halo flash over the wall, and Dire Cubs get absolutely routed. Damage.
Shit, how you going?
2 versus 1 potential. Redemp's fighting in the wave. Ulti pop for the Shojin proc. Everything coming out of Dire Cubs. Udisoft getting absolutely one hit off the back end. Flash is going to come through. Very nicely timed stopwatch. Kweku does get the shield off the back end. Ticking down, and a flash Q
Holy
secures.
Oh, wait a minute.
Or W, is he going to land a response there from Udisoft? Goes into stasis and gets himself
Heavy flashes forward.
out of this heavy, looking for a chain. He's going to land onto Rakan. Corporal is the target, and Miasma goes
Miasma's in
deep
there.
into the backline. Feathers rip back Andrew, dishing out damage, but is it going to be enough? Seaman now in from the flank, does so much damage with the distortion, but it looks to be Mammoth's team fight. Redempts finally lands.
Andrew's back here,
Maybe
though.
Seaman with the flank at the back end. Chain is going to land, and Andrew now untouched. So back and forth. Feathers rip back, and Dire Cubs walk away with
What
it.
a team fight from Andrew there. Miasma.
He contests, so Mammoth not wanting to fall to the
Okay.
same fate. Hook is going to land. Miles going to start this one off, but the Nautilus just gets one hit off the back end. It's a 1-for-1 right now. Kevy into the back lines is going to find another one, and Dire Cubs just cleaning house. Redempts with the Shojin. The back end, the 1 versus 4 in the Crocodile, tanking the Baron buff right now, doing his absolute best, but an ace is there. Dire Cubs immediate ping into the mid lane, and they want the end.